Chris here, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to this Christmas-themed reading vlog. So I think this is just going to be Christmas Eve and Christmas, though I might roll it into the 26th, depending on how things are going and how I'm feeling about what I'm reading and what I have left. But my goal for this video is to read all of the Christmassy books I had on my TBR, or at least work on some of them. So my options are A Strange World's Christmas, which is an absolute 100% priority, because I wanted to get to this last year and didn't, and it's a novella in the Strange Worlds Travel Agency series, and so it should be like a really quick read, a really easy read, and I'm really sad that I didn't get to it last year, so it's like 100% a priority for this year. I have Purloined Poinsettia, which is the fourth book in the Mott's Cold Case mystery series, which, because it took place at Christmas, I intentionally put it off until December, so I absolutely 100% want to read that one. And I think that'll be a fast read, and I really, really like that one because, well, it's a cool, cozy mystery series, but the main character is autistic and asexual, and I'm autistic and asexual, so lots of nice feeling rep and relatable situations, so I'm very excited to read that one. I have Rest Ye Murdered Gentlemen, which is a year-round Christmas mystery and the first in this series that I would really like to get to. I have Pause to Remember, which is the latest book in the Magical Cats mystery series, and I don't know that it's set at Christmas. I don't think it says, but I mean, the cover looks Christmassy, so I've kind of put it on my Christmas TBR as a book I would like to get to. And then I have a reread, which is probably the least important of the books that I could get to, and that's The Afterlife of Holly Chase. This is a Scrooge retelling, and I've read it several different Christmases, and I really like it, so if I can get to it, that would be nice. If not, it's not a big deal because, well, I've read it before, and it's not gonna cause me harm if I don't read it again this year, because it'll still be here next year. The only other thing I might get to is I'm partway through Bullets and Silver, and this is the second book in the Caleb Marlowe series, so I will probably continue listening to this just to finish it out as opposed to waiting 3 days and picking it back up. But part of that is because book 3 is Silver Trail Christmas, so I could then get into this and read the Christmas book of this, so I might do that as well. We're gonna see. I have a lot of options, but that is my plan. I had one other Christmas book on my TBR, which is the Post Box, The North Pole. But that is from my Reindeer Readathon TBR, and I can't read that until I finish all of my other prompts, because the prompt I'm using it for is Slaying It, and you can't do the Slaying It prompt until you finished all the other books on your Reindeer Readathon TBR. So that one is definitely not getting read in the next 3 days, because I've definitely not finished my Reindeer Readathon TBR. Not even close. And one of the books I need to read is the third book in the Drowning Empire series, and it's over 600 pages, and I will not be doing that in the next 3 days. So I think that's going to be my goal this week, is to see how many Christmassy books I can get in, and, you know, maybe Christmassy books, but if not, one of my favorite series, so it could be a Christmas present to myself. So it kind of sort of counts, and we're going to see how this goes. I will check back in with you either later today, because it's Christmas Eve, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, so whether I feel like filming at some point like 8 o'clock tomorrow night, I don't know, or I will check back in with you on Christmas to give you an update and tell you how I've been doing. So it is actually now the 26th. I was a lot busier than I thought I was going to be. I spent most of Christmas Eve trying to get things together. I had to wrap the little ones' presents, and what I did was I kind of made gift bags out of wrapping paper, and I was new at this, so it took me a bit to get into a rhythm with that. But I do like these Christmas crafts so that I can like make magnets or ornaments, and it was just easier to kind of pile everything together in like a bag. And I have a gazillion rolls of wrapping paper, and I saw one of the random videos that was out now where it showed how to make a gift bag out of wrapping paper, and I went, well, that'll save me some money because I won't have to get like bags, and it'll be easier than trying to wrap all of this stuff. So I did that, and we dropped off half of them. One of my friends ended up not being home when I went to go see them, and we couldn't wait, and they had a busy night, so we're gonna have to try to meet up with them again. And then we have another one who was just straight out busy, so we knew we weren't going to be seeing her on like Christmas Eve or Christmas, so I didn't worry about doing her. So I still have to put her kids' gift bags together, so I have that to do. And then of course I had to leave the house and go bring the presents over, and luckily I got to see a few of my little ones open some gifts, which is nice. I don't normally get to see it. Like, my timing tends to be really bad and they're like not there or asleep or busy or whatever. So it was kind of nice that I got to see that, and it wasn't frigid out. So my nephew was willing to leave like the screen door open so we could see into the house, so I could stay outside and the kids could be right there kind of in the doorway. And one of them seemed really excited about the books I got him. So I'm pretty happy with that. The youngest of the 3 kids my nephew has was just very excited to talk to us. She's almost 3 and just seemed fascinated in talking to us and telling us all sorts of things, which was fun. She was far more interested in that and her presents, which I thought was interesting. So that was nice. And then today I ended up watching football, and that definitely ate into a bit of my time for reading because I was busy watching the football game. But I have read some stuff. So the first thing I'm going to mention is that I've read A Pause to Remember, and I gave this 4.5 stars. This is the latest book in the Magical Cats mystery series. And in this one, Kathleen, with the help of her 2 very special cats, Hercules and Owen, end up investigating a body that was found inside of the wall of, where is it? A store run by the Artists Co-op that her friend Maggie is a part of. Maggie ends up calling her, I think because there's a leak and there's a rodent, and wants one of the cats to come take care of the rodent. And while she's there, she and the handyman of the town, who we know, I'm drawing a blank on his name, end up finding this body in the wall while he's checking for damage due to the leak. And it turns out that it's this woman that went missing 30 years ago. And a friend of Kathleen has a connection to this woman, so she asks Kathleen to look into it. And so Kathleen does. And I really, really enjoyed this. I loved being back with these guys. I really, really love this series. And it was not set at Christmas, but in the lead up to Christmas, so it felt very Christmassy, but in a different way. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, I don't know, just some of the stress that you're dealing with in the build to Christmas while also dealing with like a murder investigation. And I just really, really enjoyed the mystery aspect of this one and trying to piece together how they were going to solve a, 30-year-old murder, and learning about the victim and the people in the victim's life and trying to kind of piece that together. So I thought that was a really interesting way to tell a story at Christmas time. And I just really loved being back in this world with these characters. It's one of my favorite cozy mystery series. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. It is very well done, and Hercules and Owen are something special, and I think they really add to the story. So can't wait for the next book whenever it comes out, but I think I have a bit of a wait because this one just came out, so I'm probably going to have to wait at least a little bit. Cozy mysteries tend to come out pretty quickly, so I wouldn't be surprised if I get one next year, but I'm probably not going to be getting one in the next few months. Speaking of cozy mysteries, I also read Rusty Murdered Gentleman, and I'm giving this 3.75 stars. So this follows Mary, Merry, by the way, and she lives in, is it Rudolph? Yes, she lives in the town of Rudolph, and it is a very Christmas all the time kind of town, and we're in the build to Christmas. And A writer comes to town and he is going to be doing a piece on Rudolph, and everybody's really excited because this means that it's going to bring eyes to their little town. Unfortunately, he ends up dead after eating a poisoned cookie, and it just so happens that the baker of said cookie is Mary's best friend. So Mary obviously starts to dig into things a little bit. Mary also has a very adorable dog named Maddie, and I like cozies that have pet companions. This was a good start to the series. There's some characters I'm not so sure about. I'm going to see how things go with them and if I grow to like them or if I continue to dislike them or whether they stick around in general. I thought Mary was an interesting protagonist, and she has a very interesting story. Like, she lives in this town where it's Christmas all the time. It's really Christmas focused, even though it's not obviously Christmas all year round. And I'm very curious to see what happens when we read books set outside of Christmas time, or if they're like all going to be set at Christmas time. Like the Christmas Tree Farm Murders, for instance, are all set at Christmas time. So I'm curious to see if all of these will be set at Christmas time, or if we'll be seeing this Christmas kind of themed town at other times of the year and how things are different there. I thought the murder was very intriguing, and I was curious as to who could possibly want this man dead when he was going to be bringing eyeballs to the town. And it was interesting to see Mary kind of go around and piece together people who had interactions with him and trying to kind of suss out what was going on there. I'm intrigued, like I said, by the premise of the story and the setting. And interestingly enough, according to the little author bio in the back of the book, Vicki Delaney is also known as Eva Gates, and Eva Gates writes the Lighthouse Library Mystery Series, and that is a series I caught up on this year. I had no idea until I got to the back that this was the same author, so I expect some really good cozy mysteries in this series just based on my prior experience with the author, so I definitely want to read more of this series in the coming year. And then the last book I've read is A Very Strange World's Christmas, and this is like a really short, like 30-ish page novella that is a companion novel to the Strange Worlds travel agency series, which follows Flick and Jonathan, and Flick meets Jonathan in the first book and finds out that there's these suitcases that can lead you to other worlds. And in this one, it's set at Christmas time, and they have a tiny little Christmas adventure set around the fact that there are ways to travel between the worlds. And I absolutely love this. I gave it 5 stars. It was everything I could have wanted from a little mini novella set around Christmas in the Strange Worlds travel agency world. And it was just absolutely brilliant. It reminded me again why I love these characters in this world so incredibly much. And it kind of makes me want to do a reread in the new year and dive back into that series and enjoy it all over again. So very much enjoyed that. So I think my plan for tomorrow, and the reason I'm going to keep this vlog going, is because I want to read A Purloined Poinsettia, which is the 4th book in the Mott's Cold Case mystery series, and it is set around Christmas. And since I'm going to be reading that anyways, because I'm still attempting to finish that, and it is on that TBR, I figured I might as well give it a go and add it into this vlog. And then I think what I will do is work on finishing Bullets and Silver so that I can try to pick up the sequel to this, because the sequel to this is Silver Trail of Christmas, and it, I'm assuming, is set at Christmas time, which would be another Christmas book. So I think that's going to kind of be my plan, is to read this, its sequel, and then Purloined Poinsettia, and see if I can include that in my kind of Christmassy themed vlog. But yeah, not a bad couple of days, given that they were a bit more chaotic than I wanted. I also have to find time tomorrow to squeeze in filming my TBR game, because I did not do that today because it was loud. My dad was kind of flicking around because he'd watch football for a little bit, and then he'd go and find like part of a Christmas movie and watch one of those, and then he'd hop back to the game, but the volumes on the channels were different, so it'd be like he'd switch back from a quieter movie to the game, and the game would be loud and you'd be able to hear it. And I was like, I don't want all that background noise in my video, or having to try to like pause, wait for the TV volume to go down, and then it goes back up and down. And do you see what I mean? It would get very, very messy, and I know that I would get frustrated because being on camera can be very draining. I'm sure anybody who does BookTube knows that. It's why some people sprint and some people don't. because sprints are even harder because you're live on camera. So it's not like you can take a break and pick it back up later. And so I don't want to be on camera any more than I have to be. And so I would get very annoyed if I had to keep pausing for the TV volume to be adjusted so that you guys couldn't hear it in the background. So I'm hoping that tomorrow will be a little bit quieter and I will be able to film my TBR game and see what sort of chaos is in store for me with that thing over there. But I think that's going to be all for this update. I don't think I'm missing anything. I don't think I picked anything else up. But yeah, hopefully I will be able to get those last 2.5 books in and make this a really good Christmas themed vlog where I got to most of the books I wanted to get to. After 2 in the morning on the 27th, and I'm checking in to finally wrap this vlog up. I decided I was going to just finish Purloined Poinsettia, which I was in the middle of. I'd have finished it sooner, but I filmed that, and it took me an hour and a half. An hour and a half, people. Believe me, if you've watched that, you know exactly why it took me an hour and a half. And it seriously made me question why I continue to play that game. So, yeah, that definitely ate into a lot of my reading time because I had that and then I had all the setup I had to do before I could film. I realized I hadn't updated my jar and I had to take down the cards and shuffle them and get everything out and set up my room, and it was just a mess. And then I had to clean up afterwards, and I had a lot more books than I anticipated having. Plus, I had been getting my books together for my final book haul of 2023. So I had books legitimately everywhere, and I had been hoping to film my book haul, but that was not happening after I got done with that mess. So I then had to kind of clean that up, but by having the book haul there, I could use it if I needed it, or I wanted to grab a book off of it pretty easily. So it was just a bit chaotic, and I decided that I was just going to finish the book and then update you and then wrap this vlog up. So, like I said, I finished Purloined Poinsettia. I'm giving this 4.25 stars. This is the 4th book in the Mott's Cold Case Mystery series. We follow Mott, who is autistic and asexual, so there's some really good representation in there that I found really relatable. And in the first book, she moves into a cottage that is left to her by her aunt. Unfortunately, she soon finds a body in the backyard garden and kind of has to deal with the fallout of that. I've really enjoyed getting to see these cozy mysteries from the perspective of somebody who's autistic, because she sees the world a little differently than neurotypical people do, and I think it's fascinating to see how she handles things. This one is set at Christmas time, so she's visiting her family, and that is not necessarily her favorite thing to do because not every member of her family understands her being autistic, and she definitely deals with a lot of sensory issues, so being around too many people with the loud noises can bother her. Too much touching can bother her. And I like that that is demonstrated throughout the books. And we get to see that side of things because this is literally Mott's life. And I think it is done very, very well. I believe this is the conclusion. It certainly feels like the series tied up. And I know that the other series I've read by this author was a trilogy. So I don't think that this is going to come back because it feels like all the loose threads have been tied up, and it feels like Dahlia Donovan does do that. So I think I can check this off my series to continue. I've really, really enjoyed this series. I highly recommend it if you want to read a cozy mystery series that has some rep in it. It also has a furless cat named Cactus, and he is quite the character and I think adds a lot to the story. So very happy I got to finally get to that and finish it. The other thing I'm going to mention is that I finished both of these. So I finished Bullets and Silver Trail Christmas. I'm giving these both 3.75 stars. These are books 2 and 3 in the Caleb Marlowe series. And in this, we're living in, I don't know if 1878, so the late 1800s. And in this series, we're following Caleb, who is living on this ranch just outside of town. In the first book, the local doctor goes missing. Doc is a really good friend of Caleb's, and despite his reluctance to have anything to do with like the sheriff's department or the judges, the local law enforcement, he ends up choosing to go after Doc and finding out what happened to him. Before he leaves, however, he ends up butting heads with Doc's daughter, and Doc's daughter is also very concerned about Doc. So it definitely gives me Gunsmoke or Bonanza vibes, like think those old-time westerns that would have aired when my dad was a kid, because he can remember watching them when he was young, and I know I grew up watching them because he watched the reruns. It definitely has those vibes. I enjoy book 1, I think, more than I enjoyed books 2 and 3, but I still enjoyed them. I don't know if there's going to be a book 4. If there is, I will definitely be reading it. I really like the kind of different setting with the Western aspect to it, as I feel like most historical fictions I read tend to be set around like World War I or World War II, or even like the Civil War or the Revolutionary War. It tends to be set around wartime. And the ones that I have read that aren't set around wartime usually seem to be in the like UK or, well, not old-timey West. So I think that is an interesting setting to set a series in. So I'm really glad that I got to these. And I read them in pretty quick succession because it wasn't that long ago that I read the first one. So it was nice to kind of sort of binge a series, kind of. So very curious to see if we get more of this, and glad that I was able to check this series off my series to continue. Although whether it's going on my up-to-date or finished tab, I don't know. Hi. Do you want to say hi? Do you want to say hi? Say hi. That's Bugs. Come here. Oh, it's a Buggy. There's a Buggy. Say hi, Buggy. It's a Bug. Hi, Bug. Yes, just a good boy. He was not happy a few minutes ago because our new cat Rocky was in here, and he's not quite sure what to make of Rocky. You will have seen Rocky in other vlogs. He is the cat that you would see out in the leaves, in the snow, playing in the grass, like outside. And we have brought him in, so he now lives with us. He hasn't made friends yet, but I think they're all too scared of him to do anything to him. He's a big cat, so... And Bugsy is definitely not a big cat. He's on the littler side. So I can see why he's a little apprehensive about coming into what he considers his bedroom to find a strange cat in here. Well, despite the cat break, I think I had a pretty decent couple of days. I read most of the books that I hope to get to. I really liked the Christmas vibes. I think this turned out alright, although I wish I could have had more time to read and less time filming Mammoth TBR videos. But I think that's going to do it for this vlog. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me Christmas tree emojis. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!